So are we live? Just need to check.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Great. Okay. Okay, friends, welcome to this session on punctuality, the power of punctuality. And it would have been a rather lazy looking on our part if we didn't start this session on time, because the theme or the subject itself suggests it. So yes, surely this is one topic which is very close to my heart.
Yes, sir.
So thank you, Team WDA, Anand, Abhishek. They have always been very, very considerate towards certain aspects. So they were very kind enough to actually allow me the opportunity to actually share a few topics. So all my presentations always begin with thanking the Lord Almighty who's given me much more than what I deserve. So this is my brief CV. Many of you are aware of it. But yes, I'm a triple MBA with 4 specializations. My hospital management taught me a great deal about time management, and it helped me immensely in my practice ever since I have been there. Not that I was a lazy fellow in my childhood, but yes, it added like an icing on the cake. So this is our topic for today: the power of punctuality in dental clinics, overcoming tardiness. Tardiness means perennially being late or the habit of late coming. So this is my MPG mini paid group webinar number 42 for 2021. I keep on taking webinars for my free groups and my paid groups for my mini paid groups. I keep on taking, but yes, I've tried to actually share these and stream these on the bigger platforms now so that more and more people are aware, because the spectrum in my groups is still a limited one. The knowledge which I'm sharing since almost 5 years now, I want all that to reach to multiple people, or you can say a lot of audience in that regard. And what bigger platform than WDA in this regard? So this is another thing. I had a publication on this through Lambert. I have been an author for 5 books, and time management is one of them. So I have published a book on that as well. So it gives me a little bit of authority to speak on this topic in that regard. So yes, let's start with the presentation for today, the importance of being punctual in the workplace. And I would say we all love to go to our clinic. Yes, those who are in private practice do so more, but surely these things are going to play a big role when we discuss all these in unison. We all want to treat patients, and we are really flabbergasted when the patients don't come on time, when the patients cancel their appointments, when the patients don't even inform us. We actually look at our staff, look at our watch. We don't have a backup sometimes. Then we ask, why the hell the patient did not turn up? Why the hell the patient is late? Why the hell the patient did not inform us? We have to ask ourselves, are we punctual ourselves? I would quote American author or no, crime novelist Eric Dickey. He actually passed away last year because of cancer. He actually coined one phrase: early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. We have multiple access to all sorts of alarm clocks, reminders, you can say all sorts of gadgets to help us. But the problem is then we still can't keep ourselves on time. I know colleagues, friends who actually, you would say, they put on 3 alarms or 4 alarms for the morning and they still can't get up on time because the snooze option is available. If there is no thought process behind that, why is that snooze option? We need to understand that is just to delay it by 5 minutes, 2 minutes, or whatever snooze time you have set. That 2 minutes or 5 minutes sometimes turns into an hour or a 2 hours. And then we get up, look at our watch, hurriedly take a bath, hurriedly get ready for the clinic, do the brush like a painter, like a ill-equipped painter, rush to the clinic. If we are an associate, we'll enter into our premises or enter into our clinic where we are employed. Sorry, please, I'm late. We react like that. And if we are the boss, we sometimes don't feel we are the boss. We don't need to answer anyone. But doesn't that set a precedent in your practice that yes, if the boss is late, we can also be late as well? So what is the message you are sending across to your staff, associates, or patients? Maybe some patients are there already waiting in your practice. You gave an appointment at 9 and you yourself walked in at 9:30. The patients are waiting, and yes, there may be occasional genuine delays, but then that is one thing else that is should not be a commonly occurring thing, which usually occurs in many clinics ourselves. We dentists are fond of starting our practice late. I don't know why. My clinic starts at 9 a.m. sharp. I am in my clinic at 8:55 a.m. I'm not boasting of these aspects. What I mean to say is there are no summer and winter timings as such. Although I live in the northern part of the country in Punjab, where we have late winters, the day is late in winters, foggy winters, where even the sun does not come out till 12 noon. But that does not mean that my clinic is going to start at 12 noon. But then we have to really stop and bother a little bit bother our mind a little bit. Why does this continue to happen frequently? Before I come to that, let me just phrase out a few qualities people will look out for. Let's step on the other side. Let's be a patient. Let's suppose we have to visit a doctor, a medical specialist for our family member, for our, God forbid, for our ailing family member. What would be our priorities to listen or to select that doctor? The same priorities would be maybe with your patient who is going to select the dentist in you. Just listen to those 12, those 10 features, the top 10. Although the list can be endless, but yes, I've given 10 qualities. Actively listens. How these things have relation with your time. Actively listens to you. If you are not planned well, if you are not working in a proper way, if you are not working in a way which will actually give you a control or an authority over your time, how will you spend a quality time with your patient? The patient wants to say a few things to you, tell a few things to you. But if you are not available, you are not, or even if you are available, you are not able to provide the time because of your mismanagement, because of your late running schedule, because of your patients already sitting in your waiting, they'll say, doctor ke paas time to hai nahi, kya karna jaake? Then he educates you. You are doing a treatment in a patient for, let's suppose the patient walked in for a, say, infected 3/6. On the look of it, it seems like a open and shut case of a simple root canal. Of course, don't bypass the norms, don't bypass the initial X-ray, medical history, all those things. Don't bypass them, but let's keep them aside for a moment. It is a case, but you happen to notice the other side of the patient, 4, 5, 4, 6 missing. The commonest human approach would be man mein laddu bhuta. Either we would like that the patient should immediately get the yahan pe root canal start kiya, we should start with the treatment, or the patient should start with the treatment here also. How will the patient eat? Again, that is another aspect. Once you have done with the treatment, some people are too busy to educate. I&E bolte na, income and expenses. I say the alternate I&E, inform and educate. Alternate IE karne ke liye you have to inform the patient. Your 4, 5, 4, 6 is missing. It is causing the opposite to supra-erupt, mesial drifting, periodontal problems, all those related things. For that you need time. If there are 3 more sitting in the waiting, you won't find that time. If your schedule is mismanaged, you won't find that time. Trust me, these 2 things, you will say, ye to qualities dusri hogi na, listening skills, speaking skills, educating skills, information skills. How does they correlate to time? I just gave you the correlation. Then respects your time and resources. Business industry, everyone says time is money. We don't feel so. It is our choice. People are fond of showing numbers. I have an OPD of 35. I have an OPD of 45, 50. What for? The dentist don't need that. You don't need more than 9 to 10 to treat. Checkups, complaints aside, just to treat, you don't need more than 9 or 10. Even that is more than enough. But if you are not knowing yourself, then how much task you can accomplish in a given patient? For example, it is a single sitting root canal you're going to accomplish. You're given an appointment after 45 minutes to the next patient. The same case takes you 75 minutes, 1 hour, 15 minutes. The running patient you are called after 45 is running late by 30. Add 5 minutes for that changeover, 35 to 40 minutes delay already. What impression does that patient make of you? he doesn't know how to value time. Flip side, people will say दिखावा बिकता है, जिसके क्लिनिक में ज्यादा पेशेंट वो ज्यादा बिजी, ज्यादा सक्सेसफुल. False. These are things of the past. Nobody bothers about these things these days. People value time. They want to be seen on time. For everyone, we are in such an era that everyone is so busy that they don't want to spend extra time. 5-10 minutes, nobody bothers. Beyond that, everybody minds. Not only bothers, but minds also. Keeps a clean office. Again, related to your staff. If you are on time, your staff is on time, your cleanup would be proper. Only promotes what is necessary. Then gets to know you, values a long-term relationship, cares about their staff, follows up with you, values you as a patient. Again, a few points may have a different correlation with the time. But yes, again, we are not here for explaining the qualities of the dentist. What I want to tell you is the bottom line of all these points from 5 to 10. The commonest complaint any Indian patient would have with an Indian doctor or a dentist is, doctor ne hamari baat dhyan se suni hi nahi. The dentist or the doctor did not give us the time to speak our problems properly. Or even if we are speaking, he interfered in between. Or he just cut our sentences. He just did not listen to our full talk properly. The problem? Time. So now there are 3 facets to punctuality, which I'll be, of course, not discussing separately, but discussing intermingling, because these are not to be discussed separately. These are intermingling with each other. How? The dentist is usually late. You. The staff is usually late. Your helping hands. The patients are usually late. Chronic tardiness, the work culture. ये लोग टाइम तो देखते नहीं, तो हम भी टाइम पे नहीं जाएंगे. It is all the work culture which spreads from the top hierarchy to the bottom hierarchy. You need to understand. And your lab work also comes in this. Those are your helping hands also. Usually the local lab I'm talking, or maybe the outstation also sometimes. But usually I'm talking about the local labs, because we don't get all the work done from outstation lab. So now, what is the importance of all these 3 facets? We'll be discussing these in the later part of the presentation, of course. So let's understand the power of punctuality in a better way now. We being healthcare professionals have higher expectations from the public, because doctors have the health in their hands for the patient. We have the tooth's life, tooth's health in our hands. But yes, we are recognized by what we do in our practice, what we do in our daily life. It is not only what we do inside our clinic, but outside our clinic as well in terms of punctuality. We see very commonly, आप लोग बहुत सारे आप में से अपने क्लिनिक में, अपने सर्कल में देखते होंगे. Let's presume that you have a friend who is chronically late. या कितने बजे टाइम रखा था मिलने का? 8 बजे. मतलब वो 8:30 आएगा. The reputation is such कि ये तो आधा घंटा लेट आने वाला ही है. Why you should be punctual in your everyday life? Because the primary reason, which is not mentioned in the slide, which comes from my personal experience. I turned 45 a couple of days back. I would tell you, it is my 22nd year of practice. I can tell you these things vehemently. It adds to your 24 hours of the day. Many times, colleagues and friends, especially from my WhatsApp groups, where these sessions are taking place currently, of course, streaming to WDA platform, they ask me, how can you accomplish so many things? I still do a practice of 8 to 9 hours. Of course, COVID times discounted, but yes, the practice is almost back to normal. I still do all these things that I do in the form of webinars, videos, sessions, and everything, and my WhatsApp group, free education. All this is extra. The only advantage that I have my clinic in my residence. Presently, also, I'm in my scrubs. I don't have the hurry to just shut down this session and go home, because my home is just 2 rooms away. That is the advantage with me. But yes, why you should be punctual in your everyday life? Because it adds to number of hours. I have 26 to 27 hours in the day. I can say that. And those 2-3 hours only sometimes make a lot of difference in every individual's life. Remember, exam ka time, school, college, final year, whatever your time, 2 घंटे और होते ना तो भाई झंडे गाड़ देता तेरा भाई. We all say these kind of things. बस वो 2 चैप्टर आए गए, उसी में से 2 क्वेश्चन आ गए. वो 2 घंटे नहीं मिले ना तेरे भाई को, बस यही प्रॉब्लम होगी. That is where we realize the importance of those 2 hours. You all can have those 2 hours. Not that I am blessed and lucky कि मैंने वो छीने हैं hours. Yes, you all can have those hours. But for that, you have to be systematic in your life as well. I'm not saying you are not, but this is a journal saying to all of you. So it just shows us the value of the number one reason is it shows us the value of the time for others. If someone wants to meet you, has given an appointment, but yes, you don't make up on time, it tells that either you are not that important or you don't value the time. So either of the two is disparaging for any relationship. If you want to show anyone an importance of time, we need to be on time, surely. Many things matter. And trust me, coming from a guy like me who is in Punjab, not that my city is Ludhiana, the industrial capital of Punjab, centrally situated, city famous for hosiery and cycle industry, predominantly businessman, a very laid back attitude in life. But what we are famous for is men would say, मैं 2 मिनट में आ गया. Ladies would say, मैं 5 मिनट में तैयार होके चलते हैं हम लोग. ना हमारे 2 मिनट खत्म होते हैं, ना लेडीज के 5 मिनट खत्म होते हैं in Punjab. So coming a punctuality thing from me might seem a farce to you, but it's not. People who are associated with me in my WhatsApp group since the past 5 years, they know it. My sessions, even if they're at 7 a.m. in the morning, usually I take them at 7 a.m. in the morning as well, or at 8 p.m. in the morning, in the evening, they are on time. It is not just to show anyone something. It is not that today's session is time related, so it is on time. Usually my sessions are on time, unless there is a technical glitch, which happens 1 in 100 times. That can happen with anyone. But then once we show ourselves that we are punctual, we will begin to value our own time. We know that how much time we have divided for each specific activity. And that is where we can actually take out some time for doing activities which we have scheduled or planned for the day. But then we sometimes want to waste time. If we take out that some time, we will actually not take things for granted. The problem is, अगर किसी को 8 बजे का टाइम दिया तो पंजाब में कल्चर है 8:05 पे हम घर से चलेंगे, irrespective of what the traffic situation is. Of course, my city was selected as one of the 20 cities of smart city, so the whole city is dug up. But if I go back to the pre-smart era period, just 2 years back, at any corner, I didn't need to spend more than 20 minutes or 25 minutes to reach any corner of Ludhiana. But yes, now even going 2 kilometers can be tricky, sometimes take me half an hour as well. But then we need to understand that 8 बजे अपॉइंटमेंट का मतलब ये नहीं कि 8:05 पे घर से चलो और 8:20-25 पे पहुंचो. That is wrong. We waste our time in the day and then we should be taken for granted. I'll give a little tongue-in-cheek reference here, which many of us do on social media because of either Shri Narendra Modi or Shri Rahul Gandhi or any XYZ person or any political reference. We spoil our relationships. We actually spend a lot of time wasting on such activities, spoiling our mood and not utilizing our full potential. We argue with strangers who are not going to help us in any way. So that is the situation or the reason you need to understand that is not going to come handy for us in any way. Sorry. So punctuality means it will be showing us that it will be showing the time management skills also to our patients, to our staff also. Being the captain of the ship, if you are the boss of your clinic, you have to actually be punctual and you have to show and lead by example. What you do in your way of life or living of way of life, it is going to show that too, and the staff is going to mimic that only. Once you learn to be punctual, you're going to manage your time much better. And obviously, when everything starts on time, everything would end on time as well, if it is well planned. Remember the 2x2 matrix. Planning comes in not urgent, but very important part. Unfortunately, that is the ignored part. If planning and time management combine, it can be a very, very lethal combination. And trust me, all the three E's come together to result in more productivity. What are the three E's? Efficiently, efficaciously, and effectively. All these three E's, when they combine, they will result in more productivity. So if you are punctual, you're not holding up people, you're finishing up the work in whatever desired time. So that is the thing. Know yourself. Once you know yourself, you know how much task you're going to accomplish. I gave you an example of a single sitting root canal. If you know that your case is going to take 60 minutes, 75 minutes, keep the next appointment after 90 minutes. Keep a buffer period of 15 minutes in between. That is the thing I've been following since 2007 and 8 now. I shifted to full-time appointment practice. I started my clinic on 1st Jan 2000, shifted to full-time in June 2003, shifted to full-time appointment practice in 2007 May. 2 months after the birth of my first daughter, Ananya. She brought good luck to me. My OPD literally zoomed up 4 to 5 times after her birth on 23rd March 2007. And I was finding it very hard to manage. In the peak time, there were 6, 7 patients sitting every time. And there was no way I could manage them all. I could treat maximum 2. The rest used to turn away, or turn back. Neither did I have proper communication skills to manage them at that point of time. My MBAs were in progress. They had just started, but there was no way that I could actually handle them in that manner by my words, by my correct use of words. But then you learn with time. When I shifted to appointment practice, the first thing I did was learning to assess how much time I take in a particular procedure, because that was instrumental in me giving the next patient the time. I always calculate and give appointment to my patients. Yes, my staff does inform the patients, of course, but I decide what patient is going to take how much time. We don't give stereotype times, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, not that way. If some patient is going to take 30 minutes, 20 minutes, we give the time accordingly. If somebody is going to take 1.5 to 2 hours, we give the time accordingly, keeping a buffer of 10 to 15 minutes minimum. For a shorter appointment of 20 minutes, the buffer is 10 minutes. For a longer appointment of 1.5 hour or 1 hour or 2 hours, the buffer is 15, sometimes 20 minutes as well. Because you never know, sometimes the work can be extended. But how lazy you are, how punctual you are, that has a bigger impact just on our own schedule. Somebody might be having an urgency. Of course, COVID has eliminated those things. People used to walk in, 2 दिन बाद मेरी marriage, 2 दिन बाद मेरी flight. You're going to manage all the work in those times. Sometimes the work was not manageable, so you said a no. But if you see a quick buck with a reasonable amount of effort and time put in and no shortcuts appointed, yes, it was a good opportunity to earn quick bucks. But then that is the time period that we can harness sometimes. Then punctuality would make us more accountable amongst others. So if we are late, the staff gets an inkling that we have the right to be late as well. So is this an acceptable work culture? No. So as this starts to happen more frequently, you can say it will become slowly out of control and things will get in such a way. What happens? सुबह 9 बजे कोई पेशेंट तो होता ही नहीं, 9 बजे क्लिनिक आके करेंगे क्या? That is the attitude sometimes. 9 बजे पेशेंट तो आएगा ना अगर आप 9 बजे अपॉइंटमेंट देंगे. Calculate the time when there are more walk-ins. Keep that time vacant unless you are having a very packed schedule. If you are not having a packed schedule, shift your patients out of your main slot time. When you are not actually having irregular times, you can say, then you can manage your schedule in a better way. So you need to know yourself, your practice, your staff needs to understand all these things. All these things will work in unison. No one thing will work as an individual aspect. People ask me, internal management, when we talk, internal marketing, if we say, internal marketing, one of the most important aspects in satisfaction of the patients, in making your OPD grow. When I say zero waiting time, people laugh at me sometimes, maybe tongue in cheek sometimes. They'll say, waiting time zero होने से OPD कैसे बढ़ जाती है, patient satisfied कैसे हो जाते हैं? तो they will say nahi nahi nahi, zero waiting time se nahi ho sakta aise. But when you explain the whole picture, this is one part of that picture, that ways you can actually do it. So those who are punctual, they can be relied on for a variety of reasons. क्या ये बंदा responsible है, you can trust him. As I said, पंजाब में बंदों के 2 मिनट, लेडीज के 5 मिनट कभी खत्म नहीं होते. That is the problem with us in Punjab. But yes, in the hindsight, I would say, if you are punctual otherwise in your life, you would learn to respect others also, your time also, and you'll set a benchmark and a reputation for yourself also. That yes, he is a guy who's trustworthy. ये बंदा टाइम पे आता है, अपना काम टाइम पे करता है. Remember, the work also gets assimilated with the time automatically if you are there. If otherwise, there might be exceptions, but otherwise, यार खुद तो टाइम पे आता नहीं, काम के लेके आएगा टाइम पे, इसको दे सकते हैं, इस पे भरोसा कर सकते हैं. In your group, in your close circle, people will actually think not twice but multiple times to you can say delegate any responsibility to you. If you are late with important things in your life, how can they trust you with those things? Then one remains disciplined through punctuality. It is just a way of life. It is not कि नहीं मैं अब punctual हूं. आपने आपको बताना नहीं कि I'm punctual. This is a way of life. You have to. The punctuality does not mean that you have to start at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. every day. It means setting up a work culture, setting up a schedule that you work according to a system. Some people can't, you can say, wake up early. Perfectly all right. But sleeping till 8:30 or 9:30 in the morning on a working day, just because your clinic starts at 11, is criminal wastage of time. My day starts at 4:30. I'm an early riser since childhood. That is the way I work. My maximum output comes from 4 to 8 in the morning. लोगों के उठने का टाइम होता है, मेरी आधी दिहाड़ी हो चुकी होती है. In that work-wise, if I say 4 hours, and those 4 hours can sometimes give me, or usually they give me, up to an output of 6 to 7 hours of the daytime, because there is silence all around. ज्यादा से ज्यादा गुरुद्वारे से आवाज आ रही होती है, little कीर्तन की, बस थोड़े थोड़े. It's just across the road of my clinic and my residence, of course. So those 4 hours, at least 5 days a week, including Sundays. I have my game 2 days, so those days I don't work that much. Yes, my system is settled in that way. But at least 5 days into 4, I have managed to gather 20 hours in a week. If I divide it by that, it is roughly close to 3 hours per day. With those 4 hours, which I've cheated out of everyone's schedule. उठ के बहुत देर तो लोग ब्रश करने में, चाय पीने में, इधर उधर घूमने में, अखबार लेने में, उसमें हो जाता है. Because you have slept late. लेट सोएंगे तो फिर लेट ही उठेंगे. Body also needs 6 to 8 hours of one-time sleep. If you can't do that, you need to understand where are you faltering. People don't want to change the system they are doing. Still, they expect results. There is one line for that. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you don't change anything in you, you will not get the results you're hoping for, expecting for, or wanting for. So it is a way of life. It teaches you discipline as well, that you have to be very, very watchful of what you do. Because unless you adopt it as a way of life and culture, you're not going to succeed. And again, as I said, a trust factor amongst your peers, friends, relatives. Yeah, ये time पे आता है, ये अपना करता है, ठीक है, okay. Nobody remembers your once or twice being late out of 10. They'll remember 8 to 9 times which you have done in majority. This is the power of this thing. But if you are 50-50, इसका कोई पता नहीं, आने को time पे आ जाए, आने को 2-2 घंटे late आए. This is also bad reputation. You need to understand where you're faltering. अब यहाँ पे it helps us avoid resentment. How? If we are late because of our bad habits, and people around us, maybe peers, maybe colleagues, maybe relatives, maybe family members, they achieve more, we start building a resentment. इनकी किस्मत ही अच्छी है, हमारी किस्मत ही खराब है, हमको कुछ मिलता ही नहीं है. We start, then that resentment slowly will make stress grow more here. Anger, all those negative emotions. And what will happen? It'll start affecting our work. If somebody sees someone growing, he should be happy that he is achieving something. But we do the reverse. It is a human nature. You should actually take inspiration from that fellow, not be jealous of that. Unfortunately, jealousy is a subject which is not taught in the 4 years of dentistry, but it is an important part of syllabus of every dentist. At this point, we intended to keep this session this week, but we changed it yesterday only. So with the consent of Anand and Abhishek. So next week, I have a similar topic on this: professional rivalry amongst dentists. Of course, we'll inform day before or maybe on the same day. Wednesday or Thursday approximately would be the time. Time would be 8 p.m. only. So this is the topic next I'm going to take up. The presentation is almost ready. The thing is how time management can also help you avoid resentment. Usko uski kismat ka mila. The only thing is we should know how much effort we are making. If we are not making any efforts, we don't have any right to blame human beings or God. That is what we call, or our luck, which we commonly do. Then we can actually avoid embarrassing situations though being late. Remember, if you are an associate, you walk into the clinic, the work is on, everybody's working, and you are the last one entering over there. It may be embarrassing maybe once, but it can be much, much worse if it happens more than one time. Iska to har baar ka hi hai. We don't want to be labeled as a person who is late. So we should do all that you can be to be punctual on the time. And then, as I mentioned, if you are punctual, the stress will be less. रात को सोच के सोए हैं, सुबह उठ के जल्दी ये काम करने हैं. सुबह जल्दी नहीं उठे तो काम कहां से होने? Then the whole day the mind starts revolving around those negative things. ये काम नहीं ना हुआ तो ये problem हो गई. This is the where the lot of stress gets added, and we actually can simply avoid it by being on time. This is a power. Being on time is a power. Unleash it. It is in our hands. Lastly, you will feel more satisfied and productive through punctuality. Life is going to be much easier. You will feel that you have a lot of time. Sometimes when I have stipulated a few tasks for the day and I started in the morning, sometimes I get free by 7:30. That time अभी 1-1.5 घंटा पड़ा, मैं क्या करूं? मेरा आज का काम तो खत्म हो गया. Trust me, that feeling of joy is going to carry forward in your whole day, and that is going to reflect in your speech, in your words, in your actions. कोई आपका स्टाफ गलती भी करेगा ना उस दिन, आपको कोई बात नहीं हो जाता. Otherwise, already stressed है तो we will churn out our anger on them. या कोई पेशेंट भी 5 मिनट लेट हो गया, कोई बात. This happens. We are not ऋषि मुनीज that हम मेडिटेशन करते हैं और सारी तपस्या उनकी कर लेते हैं. नहीं कर सकते हम लोग. We are humans. We react in a certain manner. But yes, managing the angry patient, managing the angry staff. There is a presentation on YouTube on that separately. Of course, if you want, you can watch that. So being late is a habit. Being punctual is discipline. So it is your choice what you want to adopt out of this. So now there are a few cons as well to this. You've seen the advantages, what all can be accorded if you are on time. So let's see the disadvantages or the cons of this side also. If you're chronically late or chronically tardy, even if it is unintended, you can say there will be a lot of highly damaging outcomes because it is a professional world. And in professional world, people would always say there is no room for excuse. Professional life demands professional attitude. So it sends the wrong kind of messages. So each one, as you say, everyone's time is valuable. If we are late, it's clear signal that you feel that your time is more precious and not someone else's. If you're perennially late, it speaks volumes that you are disorganized, inconsiderate, unprofessional. People will have the choicest names to give to you. So it's your wish what you want to be known as, called as by them. I leave that part to you. So if you are tolerating a team member because he is important to you, your staff member, and you have multiple staff members, एक जो आपका right hand है, your man Friday, your woman Friday, whatever you can call. So वो अगर लेट आता है थोड़ा, उसको कुछ नहीं कहा जाता, बाकियों को कहा जाता है। समटाइम्स की रूल रूल उसके लिए रूल है, मेरे लिए रूल नहीं है। पंजाबी में एक मुहावरा है, मेरा कुत्ता कुत्ता ਤੁਹਾਡਾ कुत्ता टॉमी, means you will call your dog a dog and my dog a Tommy, cute and a cute Tommy. So you need to understand that rules have to be same for everyone, and this is a work culture. If you are late, your man Friday is late, nobody minds. But if the other staff is late, all hell unleashes on them. So if you don't lead by example, you can actually cause more unprofessionalism in your practice. And then it is one of the same. When I say the same thing transfers on to the staff and the clinic working also, the ripple effects. पहला patient late हुआ आपके कारण. You walked in at 9:30 instead of 9, in spite of giving the appointment at 9. The tsunami like cascade of lateness will spread through the day. सारा schedule late, सारे patients late. गलती किसकी थी? आपकी आधा घंटा की. यू हैव बैक टू बैक पेशेंट्स, यू हैव नॉट केप्ट एनी बफर टाइम टू टेक ओवर, मार्जिन नहीं दिया गया आपको. और शताब्दी या राजधानी ट्रेन की तरह जिनको मार्जिन नहीं दिया जाता, वो जब लेट होती गई तो होती गई, वो 4 घंटे की 6 घंटे में पहुंची एट अ डेस्टिनेशन. सो इट इम्पैक्ट्स द पेशेंट्स एंड द टीम मेंबर्स. व्हाट आर द फर्दर रिपल इफेक्ट्स? जो वेट कर रहा है, विल कीप ऑन ग्लेयरिंग द स्टाफ और द टीम. और जो टीम मेंबर बेचारे सेक्शन पकड़ के खड़े हैं, जो है असिस्ट करा रहे हैं, उनके पेट में भाव हो रही है बिकॉज ऑफ द मिस लंच. रीजन एंड रिजल्ट, डिससेटिस्फैक्शन बिगिंस टू क्रीप इन. स्टार्ट कहां से हुआ? टाइम से. स्मॉल लिटिल थिंग्स विच आर गोइंग टू मेक अ बिग डिफरेंस इन प्रैक्टिस इवेंचुअली. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, यू कैन निप द व्हील इन द बड एट द फर्स्ट स्टेप, बट यू कांट समटाइम्स मैनेज मेनी थिंग्स एट अ लेटर स्टेज. In many clinics abroad, they have a habit of keeping a experience score for the day. In general, if we speak, what is the patient experience for the day? The patient experience for that day would be 0 or rather negative, because सब लेट हो गए तो घर भी लोग लेट जाएंगे, खाना लेट खाएंगे, उनके घर वाले उनको गुस्सा करेंगे, उनका अपने बच्चों पे गुस्सा निकलेगा, अगले दिन का शेड्यूल कितना टाइम पे स्टार्ट होता है. All this is a cycle. Starts with just a mistake in the morning and a wrong scheduling on your part. As I said, timing and planning, time management and planning can be a lethal combination only if you know how to use both of them. I am a little bit lucky in this regard that I have been able to courtesy my MBAs. Of course, I was an early riser that added as a icing on the cake. Then how to overcome this chronic late coming? Nobody wants to be called a latecomer every time, but sometimes it becomes an inherent nature. One of my friend who works in a hospital, it is his uncle's hospital. Hospital time is 9 a.m. I'm narrating you an incident from just 5 years back. I called him at 9:30 because of some work. I said, आप तो इस वक्त बिजी तो नहीं हॉस्पिटल में? हॉस्पिटल कहाँ? Did you leave the hospital? नहीं हॉस्पिटल छोड़ा नहीं है, जाएंगे. आपका 9 बजे टाइम नहीं है? यस, द टाइम स्टार्ट्स एट 9. मैं 9:10 पे तो उठा हूँ यार, अभी तो मैं अखबार पढ़ रहा हूँ, चाय आ रही है मेरी, चाय पीऊंगा, 10 बजे नहाऊंगा, तैयार होकर 10:30 11 बजे तक पहुंचूंगा. दैट इज द वर्क कल्चर जस्ट बिकॉज इट इज द हॉस्पिटल बिलोंग्स टू हिज अंकल. 11 a.m. Technically also half of the day is gone. What are you waiting for then? Your choice. It becomes a way of life. Don't let that be a way of your life, because we will ultimately end up disappointing everyone. Trust me, everyone is not very punctual, but remember, they are not very late as well. That very late is very important. That not punctual is not that important in that regard. So if we have chronic latecomers, we all have so many sorts of patients who, come what may, will always come late in your clinic. Even I have those sort of patients. Itne saal mein we know it. So when I say know yourself is the first rule in your practice, the second rule is know your patients. If you know the patients, if the patient belongs to that 20 category of patients who's giving you 80% of your income in the month as per the Pareto's principle, and patient ने जो time दे दिया उससे आधा घंटा लेट आना ही आना है, once twice thrice you get a hang of this, if this patient is not going to go on time, come on time, you know it is an old patient, there might be multiple reasons, they have to take medication, some have to take physiotherapy in the morning, multiple reasons, they are dependent upon their driver who's come from far off, maybe their son or daughter-in-law has to drop them. Sometimes these kind of patients are always late, so give them appointment as per their convenience. So even if they come late, आधा घंटा लेट आने की आदत है, तो आप अपने आप को बदल लीजिए. I have 3 or 4 of my such families जिनको जो टाइम दे दूं 20, 25, 30 मिनट लेट आना ही आना है. What I have done, मैं उनको 11 बजे बुलाना होता है ना, तो I give them time at 10:30. They're automatically close to 11. Only once they came actually on time. But then that day we made up a story, of course. But rest every time you manage the things. You don't try to act pricey, don't want to act smart. You are late. I don't want to attend you today. I don't want to work here today. This is the way we convey our resentment, and we don't convey our angry nature. We convey so many ill effects of our character, our nature, which we don't want anyone to see. Everybody has the dark side. Yes, that dark side, not necessarily the criminal side, I would say, but a bad side. Yet that sometimes some people react to certain people, a certain way, certain you can say situations in a different manner. So, what is the solution? What can we do to actually manage on what is this? You can say overcome tardiness in our practice. The best is COVID taught this thing. Every clinic needs minimum of 2 staff members. One in the waiting, I'm talking of the initial COVID 1 wave. One in the waiting who manages the triage and everything aspect. Make sure there are not much patients in the waiting. Manage your gate, cleans up your handles. I'm talking of the first wave. Of course, those things are now much eliminated now as life gets on to normal. And the one working inside the chamber. And they need to be cross-trained for their each other's job. So that if one is absent, the other can take care of that. Even in routine also, they can switch roles. मैं ही सारा दिन दरवाजे साफ क्यों करूं, मैं ही सारा दिन टेम्परेचर क्यों लूं? You do the reverse. The duties can be exchanged so that the motivation levels are maintained. अंदर वाला कहेगा मैं तेरा तो इजी है, तू सिर्फ शीशा साफ करना है, दरवाजा साफ करना है, मैं सारा दिन सेक्शन पकड़ के खड़ा रहूं, मटेरियल मिक्स करूं, उनको पकड़ाऊं, सर की डांट खाऊं, सर की घूरती हुई आंखों को देखूं. That is the way you need to. Nobody likes his life. They always like, नहीं उसकी थाली का लड्डू बड़ा है, उसकी लाइफ मेरी लाइफ से अच्छी है, उसके पास नई कार है, नई वो है. We forget what all God Almighty has given us. We never feel satisfied. We always try to pinpoint, नहीं उसकी लाइफ ज्यादा अच्छी है. I wish I had his life. जो कार वाला ना, उसको जो स्कूटर वाला, उसको चाहिए होता कि वो कार वाले की लाइफ अच्छी है, कार वाले को चाहिए होता बड़ी कार वाले का अच्छा है, बड़ी कार वाले को चाहिए तो हेलीकॉप्टर अच्छा है. The wants can be endless sometimes. So consider staggering the schedule. Never always have a back-to-back patients unless the situation really demands it. Always keep a buffer zone. That buffer zone can be a tea break, can act as a tea break also if you really finish on time. And you need a time for changeover also. You need a time for payment structuring also. You need a time for instructions also. Maybe you have delegated those things to your staff, but there might be a query, an odd query. If you just have a very thin difference between the 2 patients, that is not actually going to help you. Then actions must have repercussions. Punctuality is a part of your job. You do things on time and it is a part of your practice policy. The first thing my patient gets conveyed is whether he walks in through the telephone appointment or the online appointment or just a normal walk-in. We work only on appointment. Just because you have walked in for the first time, we are checking you out of schedule after a very little amount of waiting, but we would want that you take an appointment next time and please be on that particular time. Otherwise, we will not be able to help you. This is the first thing any patient comes in my practice gets to hear. Before consultation, after consultation, that is secondary. But they get to hear this thing. This thing is conveyed in their brain totally. That they will work. And we make sure in our practice, in my practice, that no patient waits more than 5 minutes in my practice. Ideally, there is most of the time there is a zero waiting time because of the buffer factor. But no patients would wait beyond that. There are, however, situations when there are genuine delays. When somebody had an emergency, somebody had a fall, somebody had a burst tire, somebody had a last moment job, somebody had multiple reasons would be there. क्या काम आता है? IND, information education. So उसका extend कर दें. IEC, communication. So sometimes the delay may be genuine, unavoidable. Best is that you should try to be on time, but if not, I'll give you a few tips so that your patients are not disgruntled. Sometimes we are working, we are kept an appointment of 1 hour. After 1 hour or so, we realize that the work is not going to finish for another 1 hour. So आधे घंटे की अपॉइंटमेंट 1 घंटे की अपॉइंटमेंट 1.5 घंटे की बन गई, चेंज ओवर टाइम अलग से. You already have a scheduled patient after that. What you can do? Communicate. If you know that any emergency is there, or maybe the work is taking longer than schedule, ask your patient, or inform your patient politely that we are taking something extra, we are doing something extra, it is taking a little beyond normal. I know it is easier said than done in metros, Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, where the patients come from far off. But in cities like mine or any tier 2 city, it is easier. After 10 years of practice, your 80 to 90% of practice is from your area or adjoining areas, which means not beyond the distance of 3 to 4 kilometer radius. Majority patients, I would say, after 10 years. Those of you who are there, you will agree with me, who are 10 years plus already. Then proactively offer to reschedule the appointment yourself. We make sure most of the time when it is going to take, we anticipate that and we call the patient so that the patient does not start from the home itself. Remember, petrol also cost 100 rupees. Even if it was not 100, it was close to 80, 85. So we need to inform the patient so that the time and petrol and energy is not wasted. Even if somebody is ready to leave the home, if you inform just in time, he'll still thank you. Obviously, always keep an apology on the tip of your tongue with your patients in the professional way. The apology, if you are genuinely delaying, it can be in the form of a gift, can be in the form of a free service, although these are not necessary, it can be optional, or just to acknowledge that if you are offering any inconvenience to them because of whatever reason at your end. And yes, surely do a follow-up phone call or a message, SMS or WhatsApp with prior consent. Of course, if you have taken from the patient to send the message, that should be there. It actually conveys a big deal about your responsibility and showing of the respect. So how do you handle late patients? I just gave you an example. Just try to go with the schedule. Just alter yourself if the patient is from the 20 category. But showing a grumbling nature, showing a disgruntled nature is not going to help. We have to navigate through patient late coming. Patients will also be late. I told you my city is a very laid back city. Businessman culture is there. So it was very hard. From May 2007, it took me almost 1 year till April, May 2008 to make my patients come on time. Colleagues and friends laughed at me from my town. Is it तू लुधियाना वालों को time पे आना सिखाएगा? Trust me, it was not easy. It was not easy. But now this has become the selling point of one of the selling points of my practice. When I say appointment practice, zero waiting time, record keeping, these are big factors patients can choose you also. You'll find it funnily how. Of course, those have been reflected in so many of my other presentations that I have taken up on YouTube. I'll give you the link at the end. So if the patient is late, it is better to stick to the schedule. So it means if not all work can be completed, complete some work, which is possible. But if the procedure is not possible, do not react in a wrong way. Because some patients will become upset and they will say, late आए तो क्या हो गया? आप भी तो पिछली बार late आए थे, or whatever way they will have. They will still expect you कि हम late आए हैं तो हमारा सारा काम आज खत्म कर दो. They will say दूसरे पेशेंट को इन्फॉर्म कर दो, कोई बात नहीं, वो कल आ जाएंगे. They take you for granted. Again, this is the culture which you have set up in your practice. If you have not set up that culture, It is a personal choice. Then learning to say that I would not be able to devote the time to do a good job for you. मैं कर ही नहीं पाऊंगा आपका काम. Saying it angrily and conveying it in a way that you actually need to understand that if I'm not able to give my full time, full effort, it will compromise the output of my work only. So please try to understand. Please try to understand. I'll do whatever I can in the limited time available, but please don't understand. Our whole schedule will go haywire. We have back-to-back patients lined up after this. So please be on time next time onwards so that we don't have this embarrassment of wasting another 10 minutes in talking and convincing each other about how much to do and why to do and not to do. So we wasted another 10 minutes in this argument or conversation. If you had been on time, whole of this would have been avoided. Could have been avoided. Many times patients get late in traffic. As I said, my whole city has been now dug up, almost every corner. So then it is a common possibility. The only thing is when there is a longer work appointment involved, I try to keep a bigger buffer between the patient of now 15 to 30 minutes these days. For a smaller work, my buffer still remains the same. So remember, the patient expectations and patient experience has to be there. David Master's formula, S is equal to P minus E. Satisfaction of the patient will come only if their perceived perception is greater than the expectation that they had walked in. S is equal to P minus E. So always create a bigger or a better perception. Then only you will be able to cross those expectations bridge. Once you cross those bridge of expectations, the resultant S would be positive. और रिजल्ट पॉजिटिव आएगा, एस पॉजिटिव आएगा, तो पेमेंट वोज भी नहीं होंगे, सेटिस्फैक्शन भी पूरी होएगी, एंड में पेशेंट भी पूरा पे करेगा. दैट इज द वे इट वर्क्स. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, अगेन दिस फैक्टर स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम टाइम. वी ऑल want our patients to assume and presume that we work on time. I asked one colleague, one of my friends, that तेरा पेशेंट से झगड़ा क्यों हो जाता है हर दूसरे दिन? He used to tell me, he used to ask me for advice. तो तेरा हो क्यों जाता है? यार टाइम पे नहीं आते हैं पेशेंट्स. टाइम पे नहीं आते हैं क्या मतलब? डू यू कन्वे देम? इसमें कन्वे क्या करना? सबको पता नहीं है कि डेंटिस्ट अपॉइंटमेंट पे काम करता है. इतना लंबा काम होता है डेंटिस्ट का. So means you are presuming that you work on time and you expect your patients to walk in on time. Why? We don't want to utter a word and we want them to presume जो हमारे मन में है वो जान ले. पेशेंट है भाई, भगवान नहीं है, हनुमान जी नहीं है कि आपका दिल चीर के देख लिया उन्होंने. This is the way you need to understand. Always try to understand from the patient's perspective. Always be in their shoes before deciding anything. So always claim that you want the best outcome. And of course, the best outcome and the desired result can't be achieved in the remaining time. And because of that, we have wasted 10 more minutes in that argument. So be very mindful of the word and tone. There is one more presentation on YouTube, the power of spoken words, how to convey and communicate in clinic. That is there on YouTube. So as I say, all these things are interlinked. For me, it is not a difficult thing because I know the whole jigsaw puzzle. I pick up a piece from there, from here to give my presentations. It is up to you to join that jigsaw puzzle. So I've been long enough in this field to understand these things. I'm not saying that you are not understanding these things. You are. The only thing is we need to understand their correlations. We look at things individually. We don't look at things in totality. We don't look at the holistic picture. So whenever you're using your words, you should be very mindful, very polite, and always in the end, thank them for their understanding. So many delays would be unavoidable, but sometimes team members would be trying to show up on time. So always foster a culture of, you can say, professionalism. There might be certain problems with certain team members or staff in metros especially. कि इतने बजे मेट्रो आती है, वो ट्रेन मिस हो गई या रश था, the staff member could not board the train, अगली ट्रेन उतने देर बाद आती है तो उतना डिले हो जाता है, या फिर उससे पहले वाली ट्रेन में आए. Those sort of logistical problems are going to be there. So you make sure that you still grant them a leeway, you can say a leeway of life or lease of life in that regard. You should not be that rigid. Discipline does not mean being rigid like a field marshal. So always encourage a culture of professionalism, which means that you and your practice runs smoothly. and provides an exceptional patient experience. And if you follow the above tips for your staff, for yourself, for your patients, you're going to be more punctual and avoid late coming in your practice. But remember, everything starts with you. You have to lead by example. You have to be very, very, you can say, disciplined and regulated in that regard, that you are not late. Because if you are not late, then only you can actually command or you can say demand things from others to be on time. So let's come to the summary of today's presentation. In the form of pictures only, I'll be giving you. Punctuality, what does it show you? It shows you the value of time of yourself and for others. It shows your time management skill. यार काम बहुत अच्छे से मैनेज करता है. आधा घंटा बोला था, आधे घंटे में काम खत्म कर दिया. This is the way he works. 4 दिन में बोला था मेरे को प्रोसेसेस बना के देगा, 4 दिन में डेंचर बना के दे दिया. Whatever. This is the way your positive work culture, your punctuality will keep on spreading. But then again, assessment is काम के पीछे assessment यही है. Know yourself, know your patient, know your work. How much time you will take to accomplish a particular amount of task. If you know that, you will be surely achieving good results. Then punctuality will build trust. It will make your team more productive with the help of 3 E's. I told you, shows you are more reliable. It will definitely reduce stress. So absences and tardiness will negatively affect performance. We miss out on important updates, informations, events. You can miss info on your patient care also. At this point, I would like to mention a few things. Communication in this era, especially in the WhatsApp era, I would say, is a very abused one. I run WhatsApp groups. I'll be giving you the link if anybody of you wants to join. I see people actually not opening up their messages for even 1 month or so. If I idly speak, उनके मन में ये होता है कि ग्रुप में आया तो कोई इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं होगा. There are certain times people I sometimes keep on announcing contests. वो कॉन्टेस्ट का रिजल्ट आए को 1 हफ्ता हो चुका होता है, उसके बाद हफ्ते बाद कोई क्वेरी आंसर कर रहा होता है. इस कॉन्टेस्ट का आंसर ये है, because just late by 7 to 10 days, not much late. It is an abuse form of communication. अगर हम इतने WhatsApp groups handle नहीं कर सकते हैं तो हम उनमें हैं क्यों? Why don't we make our life simpler? रात को हम लोग बैठते हैं, ग्रुप खोलते हैं, हम टाइम निकालेंगे, स्पेशली टाइम में पढ़ेंगे. Communication has to be, yes, I understand in the day you are busy in your clinic, but yes, we don't know how to list out our priorities. Communication delayed is communication wasted. If you did not get any particular communication at a particular time, it is not relevant to you. Again, the key word is time over here. हर चीज में टाइम का रोल है, चाहे कम्युनिकेशन है, चाहे your way of life है, चाहे way of working है in practice. A dental office has to function like a machine. A missing team member, staff member means lack of patient care, lack of revenue. So the longer waiting time will be there. Some procedure won't be performed without proper help. So you need to understand where you are faltering. Then ways to avoid absenteeism. If you are an associate in a practice, you can actually have a clear communication with your employer. Direct. Inform in a truthful way. Practice time management yourself. Your otherwise time record should be impeccable. ये कभी लेट नहीं होता. अगर 2 दिन लेट आया तो genuinely कोई ना कोई वजह होगी. Give people to think positive about you. अगर आप genuine भी रीजन बताएंगे ना तो वो शेर आया वाली कहानी बचपन में सुनी होगी, वो सच हो जाती है. What happens in those cases is ये हर रोज लेट आता है, इसका कोई काम होता है ढंग का. अब ये सच बोल रहा है कि नहीं बोल रहा है क्या मालूम. A seed of doubt in that patient's in your employer's mind. Then be prepared to reduce stress. So if you're feeling excited or if you're feeling hungry, I promised you I'll be taking 60 minutes and bang on 60 minutes. I am at the end of my presentation. So if you're feeling hungry, I won't come in between your meal and in my lecture. So just another 10 minutes or so before I wind up with a couple of announcements. And those who attend my webinars, they know that at the end of my presentation, there is always a carry home gyan. It is like a summary. I've given you the summary already, but there is a carry home gyan usually in almost all my presentations, because that contains the gist of everything. Before the 21st century began, You can say, we all say professionalism is part of life now, is a way of working now. लेकिन हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की, हर एक्सपर्ट की, हर प्रोफेशनल की, हर इंडिविजुअल की डेफिनेशन ऑफ प्रोफेशनलिज्म चेंज हो गई. पेशेंट्स की भी चेंज हो जाती. सम पेशेंट्स लाइफ ये टाइम पे काम करता है, ही इज प्रोफेशनल. ये बात सलीके से करता है, ही इज प्रोफेशनल. इसका स्टाफ बहुत वेल मैनेज्ड है, उनको पता अगली चीज इनको क्या चाहिए, ये प्रोफेशनल है. इनका क्लिनिक का गेटअप देखो कैसा है, अपॉइंटमेंट सिस्टम कैसा है, देखो वेबसाइट देखो कैसा है, ये प्रोफेशनल है. So patients may have a varied definition of professionalism for a dentist. And sometimes the patient's first impression, if you make them wait for longer period, will actually, आप उसके बाद उनको hurried consultation दें कि मेरे पास अभी टाइम नहीं, अगला पेशेंट आने वाला. तो भाई पहले बोल दो उनको, पौना घंटा वेट क्यों करवानी है उनको? पौने घंटे के बाद बोल रहे मेरे पास टाइम नहीं, आई हैव यू जस्ट हैव 5 minutes, shoot now. So they'll say, go to hell now, I'm going, I'll find a better dentist than you. So this is the way we react. We try to act like Shri Narendra Modi, that we are the prime minister of our organization and we have so many things, and हमारा आपके जैसे पेशेंट के बिना चलता है. Attitude and what we convey through our actions and words not necessarily don't really understand what I'm trying to say. So we have to determine their expectations, satisfaction and compliance. With treatment and procedures, those things will come secondary. हम लोग consultation को, again, I have a book published on consultation also. I've taken first consultation multiple times on YouTube also. So many of them are on YouTube as well. We underestimate first consultation. That is the way, that is the communication from where your conversion is going to come from. And conversion पे मैं कल बोलूंगा दोबारा on a different platform at 8 p.m. again, how to better your conversion rate in your practice. It'll be on the Dencraft Academy of Dental Sciences platform. So जहां से आपको आज लिंक मिला, आपको कल भी लिंक मिल जाएगा of the session. So I have a session tomorrow in 24 hours on patient conversion. So what I was saying was patient consultation and conversion are the two underestimated things. And we try to just treat the ones over there. जो चल रहे पेशेंट वो कभी ना कभी खत्म होंगे, तो नए पेशेंट कहां से आएंगे? From good consultation and good conversions. And what are the other facets involved in that? Do join me tomorrow for that. So again, this all begins with punctuality as well, with many cases in many patients. So proper time management will actually allow a dentist to treat all patients punctually, creating a good impression. So there is one thing you should always bear in your mind. Our time is 100% in our control. I believe in that. And trust me, I had started online education on 23rd of August 2016 in somebody else's group, Dr. Sahil Chawla's group, Dentap. Me, Dr. Akshay, Dr. Leena, Dr. Sahil, Dr. Ashish Karve, and Dr. Edwin from Central America. We 6-7 guys had started that group in August 2016. And trust me, in that group, I used to take sessions at 5 a.m. also in the morning in text mode. In summers, of course. But people used to attend at that time also. Now, with time, those things have come down. At 7 a.m., I see very less attendance sometimes. I don't mind. My enthusiasm is the same, even if there are 20 or 200. As my group members put it, my enthusiasm does not differ. So our first step towards efficient time management is assessment. Know yourself, know your patients, know your completion of task time. So we need to have a very clear idea about the time we spend on our daily tasks. This will help us identify the areas where our time is wasted and also where we can manage to declutter our day and save time. So assessment सही होगी, planning सही होगी, time delegate हो जाएगा, तो जिसको जो काम करना वो करेगा. At this point, sorry, I want you to understand not everything can be done by you. Don't try to be a Amir Khan in your practice, Mr. Perfectionist. No disrespect to her, but sometimes the staff is standing free talking to the patient and the dentist is in the back lab area, sterilization area or whatever, and doing the alteration of the patient prosthesis or the impression tray or whatever. The staff has not been trained because the dentist does not like the staff work. If you properly train, why won't you like their work? You can obviously, you did not learn to make that 1 by 1 inch of plaster block in your dental materials in first year on the first day itself. Some may have been lucky. Some require a practice. How much long rope did you give to your staff? So the main mantra, I had a quote for that written in 2016 only. Start early, plan well, finish early and well. This is my mantra since childhood now, I would say, more so in my professional life. So planning a little will always help us make better decisions and accomplish the task more efficiently. Those three E's will come into play one by one. So planning will evaluate all the pros and cons of the task we are going to do. So the bottom line is make time your slave or become its slave yourself. Coincidentally, you would find it amusing. I have been writing a column in Idea Times. It is my 5th year going on. 57th part was published in September. I'll be completing 5 years in December itself. Started in January 17, sorry. So in that also, the topic currently going on is make time your slave or become its slave yourself. Those of you who are IDA members, they can open up your latest issue of Idea Times. You'll find my column over there. So what is the moral of after the carry home Gyan? Again, once a couple of slides on the moral of the whole story for today. Follow the 4 Ds of time management. Do, defer, delegate, delete. You can't accomplish everything in the given day. You need to understand that. So once you try to do everything, you will falter somewhere. There are certain things which are important that have to be done. There are certain things which are not important, like a great Indian sale by Amazon or Flipkart, Big Billion Days, that can be delayed. There are certain things which can be delegated to your staff and not need to be done by you. There are certain things like your WhatsApp chats in your school, college groups, or your social media with strangers that can be totally deleted or dropped from your these things. So just try to understand the 4 Ds of time management. Do are the task which will take a few minutes to complete, but yes, they give you a momentum for bigger projects. Defer or delay does not mean that you have to do it immediately, but you can obviously delay it for the later part of the day. Yes, you want to buy something good for maybe a phone, maybe you can say a laptop. Yes, that can be delayed a few hours. The sale is not going to go anyways. If one model finishes, another model will come up. You'll see in a month's time from now, when the Navratra sales come up on Amazon and Flipkart, if one model goes, the time limit goes, then another model will come up, a compatible one. Then delegate to someone who is more responsible, or who someone can handle, or someone should handle, I would say. Then delete, who you can say remove unnecessary tasks from your schedule and move on. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. Just a few announcements before I wind up and take up the queries from my WhatsApp group participants here, then from the chat of the FB group where you are all listening to it, and then we'll do. So this is my YouTube channel link, youtube.com/seed/Dr. Bhavdeep. My all social media presence is by my name only, Dr. Bhavdeep. Even if you forget it, go to YouTube and search Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja, subscribe and hit the bell icon, subscribe to my channel. I keep on posting a video twice every week. As on 31st August, there are 375 plus videos. Less of short videos, more of webinars, and all that taken in the COVID-1 and COVID-2 lockdown. I revived my channel on 1st June last year. This is a hard work of 1 year only. Again, my way of giving back to the society. This is all for the colleagues. You can obviously, you can go and attend that. So this is my KYC, my phone number. You can get in touch with me, my email, my website. Social media presence by my name only, except my page, which is Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. The rest, everything is Dr. Bhavdeep on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Clubhouse, of course. So these are my WhatsApp groups. There is no admin for that except me. I am the only admin over there. There are no WhatsApp group invites for that. There are no links available. You have to send me a personal message on this number. I saw a few queries requesting to put up a WhatsApp group, you can say link. There are no links. I am the only admin. Send me a request over here. I will add you. There are a few rules to be followed. It is not a 24/7 group. So these groups are running now since 3.5 years. The first was formed in February 2018. So 3.5 years of these groups. I intended to keep these till 5, but 6 is now on. 6 is also almost half full. There are 2 groups. Practice management plus medical legal we discuss in here, and finance for dentists we discuss in here. No advertisements. Not even my own paid workshops, which I take, are promoted in my own groups. It is an exception. It is an aberration from whatever you see on the WhatsApp groups. These groups are purely meant for education. And many of my colleagues who are in there, 1400 plus people are already there in that. They can vouch for that, that what I say is what I mean. So I'll appreciate your feedback. Please do send me your feedback either on my number or on the FB page where you're listening, or in the WhatsApp group, wherever you are. If you are already, Bouquets and Brickbats both would be welcome in equal measure. So this is my number. You can send me a message and get in touch with me. So thank you so much once again. And I stop my share for question time. Firstly, I'll be taking up from the chat box, and then I request Dr. Raghu to give me from the FB page as well. Just let me just give you an option to unmute yourself. Yes, I've changed those settings. Okay, great. Dr. Anand and Abhishek are yes. Okay, great. Dr. Bhasha Gurung, thank you so much. Greetings from Kathmandu, Nepal. Thank you so much. Greetings from Ludhiana, Punjab to you as well. So Abira says, please arrange an effective session on career guidance with benefits in BDS. Surely, Dr. Abira, I'll try and look forward to creating a presentation out of it, maybe next month or so. So, Dr. Prodiswar, I always go before patient. That's a very good thing, Dr. Prodiswar. If you're doing it, make it a culture with your staff also. It is always better if the patient finds ourselves in our clinic before they arrive. So, Dr. Abira, I already mentioned, I shared my number. There are no links. I am the only admin. So, yeah, that is where you can contact me. So, thank you, Dr. Divya. Dr. Archana, same, send me a message, I'll add you. Dr. Ramchandra Deshpande, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Bhavna. Yes, I also like on delivering on time management. So thank you, Dr. Raghu. Dr. Raghu, any more queries? My number, okay, just a minute. This is my number, Dr. Abira. Those of you who want to be added in my WhatsApp groups. But before that, I will request all of you to surely subscribe to my YouTube channel, because this is a channel exclusively for colleagues only. This is not for my patients. There are no patient education videos over there. All practice management, medical, legal, and finance topics. Just scroll through the pages. There are a lot of videos, close to 400 videos. Once you search them, you will find it immensely useful for, you can say, every possible topic has been covered in there. So this is my way of giving back to the society in one way. The first was the WhatsApp group and the second was the YouTube channel. So there is no monetary gain involved in all these things. It is just to make sure that I give back to the beautiful profession that we are all in. So thank you, Dr. Abira. So any more queries from the ones who are there in the WhatsApp group or in the Zoom room, or anyone from the FB page, would be happy to answer them. Dr. Raghu, any more queries or we are done?
We are done, sir. We are
okay. Thank you so much, guys. Do post in your feedback in the chat of the FB page. Majority of you watched over there. So surely would be eager to share the screen again. Tomorrow I have a session on conversion rates on the DADS platform. I'll be sharing the brochure in the morning and the link as well. So stay tuned.
Can I ask a question, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Yesterday I had about 3 appointments, sir. Because it was raining, all the 3 patients didn't turn up suddenly, and they never informed me. They are not ready to inform me, and I made a call to every them and found out that they are not coming.
Okay.
So how to manage these kind of situations, sir?
Again, these things are part of your way of working, Dr. Raghu. We have to create a culture where the patients, as I said, the patients who are strangers walking in, just talking to me for the first time on telephone or making a website query, the first thing is conveyed to them. We worked on appointment. We work absolutely on appointment basis. So this is the thing we need to convey them very, very conveniently, very, very clearly, that if you are not coming, please do inform. And do not come unannounced next time. You may have to go back. Sometimes you have to say these things as well. Once they know that this doctor is not available every time, we have to contact him. The culture will surely settle into place slowly, steadily, and surely.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Dr. Divya.
Sir, I have one question. Actually, not exactly related to this, but sir, just in case we need, say it is a procedure that needs that we need to order material for, and it's an expensive procedure or something. Then in that case, should we take advance payment from the patient in case patient cancels the appointment later on?
Yes, if it is expensive material, you can ask the patient to deposit certain amount of advance because it involves certain amount of cost. Just tell them it involves a certain amount of cost, certain things have to be ordered. So we would like to actually confirm your presence by requesting you to deposit a little bit amount of advance. Surely. You can always convey it.
Thank you.
Any more queries? Okay, then guys, see you tomorrow at 8 at DADS platform with the session on conversion rates. I'll drop the brochure in the link tomorrow morning. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Have your food. Sorry to be coming in your food and your meal today. Okay, great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, sir.
Bye. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, WTA platform once again. Abhishek, Anand, you guys are a real gem.